Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will speak about a grimoire of mine called Clauneck, and it is to say my 12th grimoire, which will be part of Galactica Volume 2, or the first grimoire of Galactica Volume 2. To say I have finished the book, I have created the grimoire of Clauneck, and so I still have to, of course, correct and edit. They are like the last reads that I do, in the end to say, the correcting of mistakes or of the text or of the meaning as well. And to say, I will speak about the Clauneck as to say part of Galactica 2, say Volume 2, and the Galactica Volume 1 include different grimoires that I have written. As I said, Clauneck is my 12th grimoire that I wrote and will be the first in Galactica Volume 2. Galactica is a digital product, and so all grimoires, all my books are published in paper and can be purchased both in paper, but by the number of pages, there were 11 grimoires, and so grimoires can go from 200 pages, 300 pages, 400 pages, 500 pages, 600 pages, 700 pages, and more. And so the Galactica, the first volume, has more than 5,000 pages. That's why it is a digital product. Who is interested can buy it as well, and can be read on telephone or any reading program, or in a digital format. The Grimoire of Clauneck, I spoke about Clauneck as a character in my book, and I didn't know a lot about him, and I tried to meditate on his thematic as well to understand who Clauneck is. And of course, the grimoire is a fictional work, and all my work is fictional. It is part of the fiction, and the different aspects of Clauneck that I have spoken already, and they're all very interesting aspects, and there are some similarities, there are some things that are very different, or almost to say Clauneck appears always a little bit different, or has different ways he appears, no? And these ways can be very different. Once he appears like this, once he appears like that. So there is this element of Clauneck. Once I see him in the castle, in that place, once the castle changes, once I see him in another part of the castle very differently, then once I see him around temples, or walking outside or being outside. It is part of Clauneck as well. The connection that Clauneck has to certain parts, the temple or the palace, no? They are, of course, very similar, no? They are different, of course. The temple is a temple, the castle is the castle, the palace is the palace. But actually, it is, they have different functions as well, of course. No, the temple is a place of prayer, or or a place of knowledge. No, castle is something more private or something owned. It is the home of Clauneck. Then we have the element of the palace too. The castle is a palace, or the palace is a castle at the same time. The palace does have some differences as well, no? As well as the temple. So in the temple, in general, we see more the element of different architecture. We see the element of the columns. We see the element of the inscription, or something written or drawn. No, it is very much the element of the word, element of language spoken or recited, or type of language. The temple as well. At the same time, too, the palace and the castle can have those elements as well, the element of recitation, recitazione, or to recite, no? So, they do carry similar elements, but of course it is something more unique, something more special. No, so a certain type of music can be heard, but not all type of music. Or there's like an entrance, but it's like there's just one door, you know. Or so well, this can enter, this not. There's a distinguished element of the castle. So well, the castle has maybe the door is closed, or the castle we don't know where it is. It is that element too of well, we say what fantasy, you know. We say what imaginary. So the temple too has an entrance at the same time, as I said, has a different construction, no? So in the palace too, so what palaces in general are decorated, ornamented with different decoration, geometrical figures, forms. It can be many different things. The element of art or the element of architecture comes very much so. Then of course we have the element of the colors, we have the element of the beautiful patterns or the beautiful things that are shown. So the columns sometimes appear white with no inscription, sometimes they carry color, or sometimes they can carry images or inscriptions, and or colors or geometrical repetition, geometrical figures or different motifs. As you say, well, that palace is almost it's from a different time. So well, the castle of Clauneck seems a different time than the palace, because well, the castle so well has a different architectural style, so well, the Baroque or so elements of that. No, still we cannot really say well where is the palace or how the palace. Or it's just a description of some elements of it. But it does have this style. It does have the mirrors. It has the Baroque, the Renaissance style, or the Italian French style, as well, the element of the fresco, or the element of certain colors, no, that are painted on the walls. Or it can be yellow, it can be ochre, it can be red, or something very specific color as well. And sometimes it can be even blue or green, or elements that appear as that color. It does not have to be necessarily an entire wall. Sometimes you say well, a different fresco represents different images. It can be very different type of images. We say well, a fresco, no? It can be a bouquet of flowers, or it can be, I don't know, different symbols, different elements, no? So well, it can be many different things. But it is painted on the wall. It is shown as a painting on the wall. And it can be combined with geometrical, so it does not matter if it's figurative. Now we're going to use geometrical. So there's a certain design as well that comes with it. And the element of the color, so well, it doesn't matter, you know. So well, if the wall is, let's say, ochre, red, or there's some type of orange, red, yellow, it's like a mix, almost goes a little bit into the brown, but still remains very red. Well, so it is not the red of the, it is almost a balanced type of red. It's more, it's a brownish or yellowish, or so a little whitish too. So when you mix the colors, you so try to find the color and the certain ones that comes with it as well. It is a special color. And then we have the figurative elements, no? The drawing elements, and so it can be flowers, it can be set different symbols, and sometimes appears different leaves, or say the color green, or depends what it is depicted, of course. And as I said, sometimes they do not have any drawing. It's just a simple, simple, no? The classical beautiful column, that it is white. It is, let's say, the element of the column, and on the top or on the bottom they have a special design that one can say which style it is. It is Ionic style. So the Ionic has this element of the was like the ship, you know, the element of the like a spiral, it goes outwards. Or so, well, it is not to say I say that the designer to say has special architecture as well. So there are the three different columns, And so well, the Gothic one has a little bit more decoration. One see it is a more developed style. So well, the Roman style is the simple style. Then we have the Ionic, which has some type of so well, a certain shape, as I said. And then we have the Gothic one, which has more decoration. So well, when we see the element of the leaves or the element of something flowery, very decorated, highly, so well, it's very Baroque, especially if it repeats itself. So well, this is so well the Renaissance style, so well the Baroque, and so with the element of the fresco as well. And then so well the temples are made of stone, no? So inside the temple in general is very cold, or say it has a different temperature than outside. So well, it depends too. So well, the palaces or temples, they have many doors, or maybe just one door, you know. So well, it doesn't say. It depends too on how large or how big the place is, or the palace or the castle, and it depends too. So well, one can see too from outside, from the element of how many columns or how big, how, you know, what inscription, what things are outside the temple as well, no. So well, where the temple finds itself, where, so even the castle, no. So there are many different elements that come together. So as I said, inside the temple is cold or cooler. So there is a certain coldness or a certain simplicity that comes with it. It is not necessarily to say, well, even if the temple is very ornamented, and doesn't matter, no. But there is a certain coldness that comes with it. It's a certain feeling that comes with it as well. The light comes in a certain way. There is that type of beauty too. A type of serenity, a type of simplicity as well. So well, the element of the palace. So well, the palace is very beautiful. In general, palaces have been built very close or near water. So well, the palace has very beautiful scenery, or very beautiful chosen to say, well, where one builds a palace. At the same time, there are palaces too in the desert. To say, well, it is just the sand around. There's nothing else than the palace and the sand for a larger, say, region. Or so, well, it is the most important part of that region, no? And so, well, sometimes they can appear on a hill, sometimes they are in a valley, or so, well, castles are more in the valley. Palaces are generally built more on the top or on a higher altitude, or as well as high as the region is able, no? So it depends to which region are we talking. But so well, castles too castle almost seems even more as a palace, it's more descriptive, and say castle too has aspect that's a little bit more magical, or that aspect of something old, or something from the past, no? So the castle carries a certain history too. Of course, the palace too. Carries a very beautiful history, no? So it's almost to say, well, in the palace, the difference is that the palace in general open. So if there is a door, is open. If there is the entrance of the palace, no, but there is no specific door that one can close it. It is open, so it goes very much into the idea of the temple. And at the same time, the palace too has the type of openness, no? So palaces too can have different rooms, different doors. So well, this too is like entrances without doors too. So well, it is more an open palace, or in general, palaces too have areas which is very open, it's very large, it's very can have the corridors which are inside or outside. We can have the different staircase, or it can be just a simple temple. So it depends too from which time. So well, it is an ancient temple, it looks different, of course. So well, the element of the scenery is very important in a temple as well. So well, different plants or different flowers, or what is shown in the representation. So well, maybe it is the temple does not have a round necessarily plant, but maybe inside there is a drawing, maybe inside there is something. The other aspect to say, well, the castle is a little bit different, no? The castle is so well, the castle too is a palace, so it's just a different architecture. It just has a different architecture to it. The element of the temple, which I find very beautiful, is well, the temple is a place of serenity, no? So of course the palace too and castle have those elements. So it is part of the temple, no? I say, well, we have like, so the house too is temple, or the temple and the house. It just speaks, for larger people, and so well, the temple is for more people, no? At the same time, it's not a house. There is a clear distinguish between the words. It's a clear distinguish between what they represent. They all carry different elements. So, well, the temple is for reading or listening to something. It has something that's the spoken word, no? It's very much the temple that carries that element of the serenity, of the silence, or the element of the light, or the element of, so something very, very old, very precious, very beautiful, something unique, something that one can, say, learn from. There's a part of the history, of course, and say, that these elements that we find in the palace too. But of course, say, well, the temple is the temple. It has a distinguished architecture and distinguished elements that one finds inside that makes it a temple. And as I say, well, Clauneck say, of course, as I said, all these elements appear very much. So we have the castle of Clauneck, or we have the temple, or we have the element of the palace. All these three elements appear in the elements of Clauneck. Then we have to say the outside. The outside, so it depends where. So if the temple is in the desert, then we have the elements of the desert, this hot sun, or the animals that one see in the desert as well. Then we have maybe Clauneck, we have the element of the turban, this headpiece that is worn by men, no? This is the element of the turban. So it shows from the origin of Clauneck, the element of the turban, of course, has a specific meaning as well. Then we have the element of the sands that appear very much, especially in the palace too. So it's the element of Clauneck. It is the element of the sands as well, and in the temple as well. No, it's the element of the environment, the outside place. It is sand. One finds a lot of sand. Then the element of the castle. So we do not have the element of the sun, but we have the element of the mirror, or we have the element of the Baroque too as well. And sometimes we see Clauneck mostly on the throne. At the same time we see him outside as well. This is the element of Clauneck. So Clauneck has that young spirit, and not only, he is young, no? And he is he enjoys the element of the freedom very much. The element of the nature, or the wilderness is what the nature means. What synonyms we have for nature? No, it's like nature is wilderness. No, it is the part of that wild. It is the part of the outside. So to say, of course, the nature, the wilderness. No, sometimes it's very serene. No, but you say, well, one knows the sands can be dangerous, or the element of the sands or the water. No, so it is very much to say that. The element of the wild, that represent the element of nature. So, the elements of the sands are always connected to the element of the wind, for example. No, so maybe the temple was for a few thousand years covered in the sand, and suddenly there was a lot of wind and the temple was uncovered by the sands. It appeared in the middle of the sands, a temple or a palace. No? So that element is the sands, no? So very much connected to the wind. And of course, the environment is very hot outside, no? So one can imagine what type of animals are there, what type of plants, or what one finds, or how it's the night, or how it's the day, no? To say it is very simple. The representation of Clauneck is very, very simple. And we have the element, of course, him walking outside, the element of the sand, the element of that beautiful element of the night or the evening. So in the desert one has the most beautiful skies. We have the element of the stars as well. And that serenity, it is quiet. So if it is quiet, one can hear certain sounds in the desert. There are certain very, I want to say, hard to perceive type of sounds. So of course there are, no? There's like the sand moves or the elements. So there's a certain bird, or there's an element of total stillness as well. So that is very much the sands fit very much to the temple. So the temple is made from the sand. The sand is the stone is the sand. It is the same thing. It's just a stone, and it was built, no? So it has a meaning too. Of course, the reference of sands always have a very special meaning. Of course, and so in the thematic of Clauneck, I think it speaks about that element of the sea, that speaks about the origin of Clauneck. So he comes from a place where is sea, or maybe the element of the salt or the sea salt can be connected to the element of the sands, or the element of erosion. So the sand is almost like the stone in time, through the wind, through the water, always loses, always loosens itself a little bit, no? But slowly, no? And then it's like it takes a different shape. Or if the temple is old, maybe the colors are not perfect, maybe the colors are a little washed away, but it does not take away from its beauty. It is the element of the castle or the temple, no? Or the palace too has a meaning or a history of something that is of value, or something that it is of interest. So the element of the palace, as I've said, palaces in general have been built of a little higher altitude, so close to the sea, but protected from the sea as well. No, it's like a specific place, a specific depending to how big the palace can be. So it has the element of more than one, more like levels, no, or it can not necessarily, or it has the element of. I think palace is very much connected to the element of nature, or the element of, like plants or flowers. And the element of the corridors, it is something that comes very much in the element of the palace, or the element of the castle, this element of the corridors. And the corridors too, so in the case of Clauneck, the corridors are very big. There's something about the size of the palace being very large or very big. And of course the columns too, it speaks very much. Well, there are very many different type of columns, no? Different styles, different material, how they are carved, how they are, is it from stone, is it from balsa, is it from wood, is it from what material, no? Or the colors, what type of colors, which stone, which is found in that area, it is brought from somewhere else, it is, it tells us a lot of things about its part of civilization, or who have created the place or temple. So the colors do tell a story, if there is color still kept. So maybe the blue sometimes remains, or the green, or the white, or the different colors that can still remain, or this ochre, or this red, no? It's like what type of colors. Or sometimes it seems without colors, because we have more the basalt or the natural stone. It is more on the natural side. Is it like a hard stone? Is it a softer stone? Is there like shells in the sand or in the stones? Is the element of the sea? Is the element of the water? It's like what type of environment? So the element of the temple, the element of the palace, and the element of the castle, it is, as I say, the same thing represented in different ways. They are still not the same thing, but they are very similar. They are very, very similar. Well, they are maybe different in size, or maybe different in the region, or maybe different the way they are created, made, decorated, formed. Maybe, but there are some similarities as well. So if the temple offers an element of that serenity, or the element of the temple, it is a place of learning. It is a place of I say the temple, it is a little bit different, no? So it does have something more enjoyable, or the element of home. And the castle, for me, it represents something more closed. It seems a little bit different. So if the temple can have the door open, the castle not. Of course, there are big differences. At the same time, they are used for different things, or represented in different ways, or come from different region, different history, Of course, depends. I speak in general, but I do speak as well too about the 3 different places that I saw Clauneck. It is with the element of the castle, then we have the element of the palace, or the element too of the temple, or outside the temple. Then we have the element of the carved in stone, or the element, so the temple can be carved in the mountain or carved in the stone. Then we have the element of the palace, the castle. The element of the castle is very much different, The castle in general has a more complicated type of architecture. It is created for or depends too, but the castle is more seen as a fortress. It's something impenetrable, or something that does not allow others to come or to enter. So the palace in general have the castle has in general very large doors, very hard, almost impossible to open. It can be even like iron doors, or something very large, very big, cannot be moved, cannot be opened. Can be even a very large stone in the front of the door. So the castle is something different. Of course, these elements too can have the palace. And the temple, they say, well, the temple in general have some type of inscription or some type of, well, the temple is a little bit connected to other elements, so it is even more different than the castle and the palace. We find more similarities in the castle and the palace. There are very much differences to the elements of the temple, because of course the temple has a higher understanding, a higher meaning. So temples always speak about something sacred, something very beautiful, something very unique, something very special in the ways where a temple is. It is not a church. A temple is not a church. We say it is different. The temples have been, as you say, well, of course there are different temples. As well, the classical temples of the Romans, of the Greeks, no? They say to do have a very special type of beautiful symmetry and architecture. It is an idealistic way of beauty as well. It is very symmetrical. Temples are symmetrical. Palaces too, but the temple is more strict architecture. The way a temple can be recognized or say said as a temple, no? So well, it's not like, so well, is it a temple? It's like the people in the area know if it is a temple or not. So what elements the temple has, one can recognize if it's a temple or not. So we say we have the element of the columns. So we have the element of the columns in the palace too. But the symmetry and the way the temple is formatted, as I said, has a perfect harmony and symmetry. It has to be perfect in a certain way, a distinguished way. The palace has more freedom. It is more artistic. The palace is more like a living space that is very beautiful, and so it can have corridors inside, outside. There's architecture, more freedom, because it is not a temple. The temple is more strict. It can seem even more boring or simple, and it's very different as well. The palace is larger, where the palace has more space or different levels or niveaus, or different famous palaces have been in history that were extremely beautiful, and it was like architecture much more so well, it has a lot of rooms. No, it's almost like you can get lost in the palace. So it is larger, as I said. Well, how large? It depends on the construction or the region, or what type of the palace in general has more rooms than the temple. The temple too can have more rooms, but not just so. It can have one or more, but palace is larger. In the castle, we have some castles are more little, or some castles are very big. In the same time, where there are castles where there is the element of magic. The castle has the element of magic, not always, but it can have. It can even appear in a different world, as well in a fantasy world or something. The castle always has some type of history to it, or the castle always has something. So very exquisite. So castle is very much element of Clauneck. And at the same time, the temple, as I've said, is more simple. But that simplicity is not to see from all these three different descriptions, the palace, the castle, or the temple. The temple is the highest. The temple, it is the highest. So the temple has the highest, hierarchy. No? So maybe the construction is simple, maybe it's not as large, or maybe looks a little like not as much, as a palace or a castle, but it is more highest. It's the highest, the temple, and say it is something that creates that part of the symmetry. And that symmetry of its form, of its architectural form, as well as its use. This temple has something sacred about it. And the element of Clauneck, so well, it is of course a very interesting character. One can speak about all the different elements that appear. So well, it is interesting, and there is always to say that the temple has, I think, a certain call to it, And to say, well, maybe the palace is more beautiful, maybe the castle is more interesting, but the temple is very special, very unique. And of course, temples too are very beautiful. I just want to express that in comparison to a palace or to castle, it is a little bit more simple. But that simplicity is what makes that symmetry. As I say, almost like the palace and the castle want to imitate the simplicity that the temple has but cannot. So it is the temple, it's different. Or is the castle is different. Or so it is the temple too, no? And the element of the column appear in all of three. We have the element of the column in the palace, we have the element of the column in the temple, or we have the element of the column in the castle. And I will continue at the time. As I've said, if you want to listen to the playlist of Clauneck from the beginning, where I speak about Clauneck, or if you want to check out my other books or other playlists as well, there's the link in the description box below, and I will speak another time about Clauneck. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, bye.